guys, so welcome or welcome back. In today's video I'm actually going to go through and show you my eyeshadow palette collection, because a lot of you over on Instagram have actually been asking like, oh, have you got this, can you do a look with this, blah blah blah, and it's actually only just occurred to me that you don't even know what palettes I actually own. I could have something sat here that you need to know how to use. So this video is kind of just a little rundown on my collection, what I could possibly need, what you want me to try, what you want me to use more of. Like, this is all about you guys letting me know what I need to start using. So if you like the sound of that, or you just want a little bit of a nosy on what I've got, then please do like, subscribe if you can. It really does help me out. And without further ado, we shall get into the video. So I thought I would kick off with probably the palettes that maybe you haven't actually seen me use. Honestly, I can't remember what I've used and what I haven't. I apologise. So first up is something that you guys haven't seen, but I use this all the time, and this is the Doll Beauty Dolly Mixture palette, and it just looks like this. It's a lovely like neutral palette, but it is so good for soft glam. There's no shimmers, it is all mattes. The formula is amazing, and it's just got those really lovely tones that suit everybody. So it's a really good all-rounder palette, and it's something that if I'm going out or I just want something soft, anything like that, that is the palette that I will gravitate towards too, really. Next up is an oldie but a goodie. It is the very first Soph palette that she did with Revolution, and this is it here. Like, oh, again, another really nice neutral palette that I absolutely loved. This was my, probably like what I bought in high school, college time, and yeah, anything neutral, again, absolutely loved that. The formula was really good. The shimmer shadows in that were fab. Really loved them. This was when I first kind of got into makeup. This was one of the first ever palettes that I thought, yeah, I really like that. So moving on, we have the NYX Metal in Your Element palette. This is literally a palette just full of shimmers. Now, I kind of use this, I have to use it with another palette, obviously, but some of them are a little bit like, they're not real shimmers, they're almost like eyeshadow toppers instead of like actual shimmer shadows. Yeah, the formula of them is really nice. They are a little bit too crumbly for my liking, but again, when I was first getting into makeup, really loved them. But something that I really love using this palette for is going in with the Inglot Duraline mixing medium and using these for shadow liners. Amazing. They are really lovely. So if you want that sort of like shimmery liner, these are fab for doing that with. Sticking with NYX, I have the NYX Lip Lingerie Shadow Palette, and that is just palette number 1. It's just called number 1. Again, another early purchase. A lovely little neutral palette, like really good for on the go, because you've got some like darker shades in there, you've got some lighter ones, a little bit of a medium tone. So really good like for slinging in your bag for like an everyday sort of thing. I'm not really a fan of NYX shadows, not gonna lie to you. They're okay, but they're nothing to write home about. Like, again, it's from when I was like back in the day sort of thing. I can't even think of how old these are. They're okay. I'd still probably use them in a pinch. Like if I wanted to go on holiday and just throw something in, I probably would do, but there are just other palettes that I have now that are just higher quality and get more use out of. Another NYX one is the NYX Look Set 17. This one has actually been through a bit of the wars. Like, it's, yeah, the two of the shadows are cracked. I don't think I've ever actually used this. I think I've possibly used some of the darker browns for like a liner, and that is about it. I don't really gravitate towards these anymore, and if it didn't get used when I was younger, when I was just first started out, then it doesn't really tend to get used now. I have the Fenty Galaxy palette, which again, it's an all shimmer palette. I remember buying this because it was on offer in Boots, and I wanted to spend one of my Boots vouchers. Again, it was when I was younger, and I hadn't actually looked at what was in the palette. I didn't actually read anything about it. I thought, oh my god, it's Fenty, it's new. This packaging, I literally just bought it out of instinct. You can tell what I was like when I was younger, can't you? But again, these are more like eyeshadow toppers instead of shimmers, but they do have like a really, really lovely like cast to them and like duochrome effect. So I will actually use these sometimes, like for an inner corner, or if I want to, like I have today, like when I've just bobbed like an eyeshadow topper over some shadow just to give it a bit of a pop. So I do actually tend to use this, like if I do an eyeshadow look that's all matte and I want to add a pop of shimmer, this is something that I will actually go for. Then another sort of like shimmery palette. This is the Sleek Eye Divine eyeshadow palette in Making Waves, and I got this from my Secret Santa at work. So yes, another one that's like mostly shimmers, but you have this matte black here, which I just feel like, yeah, you can do any sort of smoky black lid with a pop of colour, which is always going to be fun, isn't it? Like, it's sort of like an easy, beginner-friendly sort of palette. I have the Tammy times Revolution Tropical Carnival shadow palette, which is here. And honestly, I have tried to use this so many times and I cannot come up with a look that I actually managed to do. And honestly, like, the colours are fab. Like, I really, really love the colour story. I really like the shadow formula and things like that, but I get a block. I actually get a block when I use this palette, and I don't know if it's because I've done it once and now all the time I'm like, oh my god, I can't use this palette. It's gonna go to shit. And then it does. But yeah, it is a really, really lovely palette, and you know what? I am actually going to try and do a look with this. Hold me to that, because it's just got it's got such lovely colours in there. The shimmers are gorgeous, and yeah, I need to stop being a little bitch and actually pick it up and do something with it. Next up, another Revolution palette. This is the Revolution Forever Flawless Constellation palette, and this is what the colours look like here. Again, I don't actually think that I've used this. I had some points to spend in Superdrug and I literally just picked up a palette. If anybody's used this, let me know what you think about it, because I have so many to get through and I wish that I could just, you know, quit my job and just play with makeup all the time, but I really can't. So if anybody knows anything about this palette or how it performs, please do let me know. Or if you actually want me to do a video using it, then do let me know. Next up, I have the Zoeva Matte Spectrum palette, and this is it here. Now this is actually really, really lovely. I really like the sort of muted tones in here. I just am that sort of person. I am a little bit like, fair enough you can't tell right now, but I am a little bit more into like the sort of musky, sort of grungy colours opposed to like something bright. And I know that sounds like a big fat lie, because I do tend to try and do bright things on my YouTube and my Instagram and stuff, but if I was actually going out, it would more than likely be something like this. The colours in here are lovely, the formula is fab, and never have any issues blending them, and yeah, I do tend to use this if I'm like going out or something. Next up, I have just a tiny, tiny little She Glam, sort of like it's an eyeshadow stacker, so you get 3 shades in here, and you know what, these are actually quite cute. So you've got like a light shade, a medium shade, and your dark shade. And I'm sorry, right, this is just so handy to put in your handbag and just like throw on sort of thing. And no, I have not tried the quality, but I am definitely going to, because this is something that it's just so handy. And yeah, they might not be the best formula ever. I don't know, I haven't actually tried them, but it's just so convenient. Something like this is just so convenient for like a work day, anything like that. So yeah, if anybody's tried these, again, do let me know. Next up, I have the Bougie palette by Makeup Obsession, and this is yet another all shimmer palette. So we have some really, really cute like colours in here, but again, something that is all shimmer it's hard, isn't it? It's hard to use an all shimmer palette for a look. Like, it just doesn't really happen, does it? I tend to stay away from them when I am doing my makeup, because I just prefer to kind of use one palette, or when I'm doing my YouTube videos, my Instagram looks, things like that. I don't want to have to use a couple of different palettes, because not everybody is going to do that. So I do understand that it's a bit of a ball ache, but if you do want me to try them out, again, let me know. I do actually have another Makeup Obsession palette here, and this is the Kisses palette. I think this was like a Valentine's Day release. Now this is actually really, really lovely. So it's lots of like pink, red, berry tones. There's a few shimmers in there that look absolutely stunning. But yeah, this I have actually used before, but not on my channel. And it's really, really good. Like, the pigment is there, the blendability is there. And it is just one of those like sort of cheaper alternatives to like your standard Morphe, BPerfect sort of thing. I don't really ever hear anybody talking about makeup obsession palettes, but it's one you could use and have a go with. It's got enough colours in there that run through and are blendable, so you can quite easily make a look with this. So if you're starting out like a beginner sort of thing and you want to try out somewhere, something like this is really, really good. Moving on to my little ColourPop collection. So I have the Mandalorian The Child palette, and these are the colours here. I think you have seen this on my channel before. I did a full face of ColourPop and I used this palette, or I'm pretty sure that I did. And yeah, this is just so lovely. Like, the tones in here are gorgeous. You've got these like lovely, gorgeous shimmers that are just absolutely amazing. Like, look at that. You've got darker shades in there so you can really build depth. You've got your shimmers and you've got your light shades too, but they all run together. They can all be used together. Yeah, just a really, really good palette. And you do get the Super Shock Shadow formulas in with that as well, so win-win. Next up, I have the Blue Moon palette. It's the 9 panel palettes from ColourPop, and yeah, you just get a little colour scheme. You get a little colour story of blue in here, and it just... These sorts of palettes, these like 9-pan ones, are really, really good, especially from ColourPop, because you get, as I say, you get that Super Shock Shadow formula in with them. It's just something that's really, really easy to create a look, and yeah, it's just... ColourPop know how to make an eyeshadow palette. They have the formula down, they have the shades down, they know what they're doing. And then the final ColourPop palette that I have is the Blowing Smoke palette. Again, I haven't used this before. Honestly, I really, really need to pull my finger out, like big time. So this is all your blacks, greys, silvers, and yeah, these just look absolutely stunning. Like, I really just do need to get with the program, don't I, and start doing some more makeup looks with all of these palettes that I haven't used. Moving on, I've got my little E.L.F miniature palettes. Now, you've seen me use this one because I think I did like a chit chat get ready with me using this one. Formula, amazing, and they're just so, so handy. And then I have the blue and the green one too. I haven't used these ones, but if they're anything like the brown, amazing. I've got my Mellow Cosmetic quads, so I've got Athena, Rhea, and Harmonia, and these are just like tiny little neutral quads. They give me like the Charlotte Tilbury quads sort of vibes. I am actually going to do a video on these, testing them like against the Charlotte Tilbury palettes, the little quads as well. So I'm going to try and create a look that is achievable with the Charlotte Tilbury palettes, just so then you can see like exactly what you're getting if you use these, because there's some really, really lovely colours in there, and yeah, stunning. This is the final one here. Yeah, these are fab for everyday looks, for even like a little bit of glam. They're a solid 10 out of 10. Next, I have my P.Louise palettes. So we have this one, which is the purple one. I've tried these today. The P.Louise palettes are what is on my eyes at the moment, and yes, I can confirm these are absolutely amazing, as I thought that they would be. We've got the blue one here as well, and this is it here, and yeah, P.Louise know what they're doing. Like, they know what they're doing with eyeshadow palettes, they know what they're doing with a lot of things, really. Yeah, it's first day trying them, and I love them. Next up, moving on to my Juvia's Place palettes, I've got this one here, which is the Magic Minute. These are the colours here, which are stunning. I really, really, really want to do a look with this soon because, yeah, the shimmers in here are just absolutely amazing. And I actually used to use this all the time when I was going out because I absolutely loved this purple shimmer here. Like, I love doing a smoky eye with this shimmery purple on the lid. It was just stunning. This is the Zulu palette. And as everybody probably knows, Juvia's Place palettes, Their formula is absolutely incredible, and with ones like these, like the vibrant colours, they just look amazing, and the pan sizes of the shadows as well are just massive. Got the Masquerade Mini here. So this is one where you get like a few neutrals as well as like your colourful tones as well. There's just so many different things that you can do with these palettes, like, and it's a formula that you can rely on as well. Finally, I've got the Warrior 3, and that is it here. Honestly, these give me big inspo vibes. Like, every time I look at these, I just want to play with them. I need to, yeah. I've said it before, I'll say it again, I just need to pull my finger out. So moving on to my Beauty Bay palettes, I've got the Beauty Bay Pastels palette, which is this here. This is fab for colourful looks, like for little colourful looks. Pastels were a big thing, like about a year ago pastels were a big thing, and I feel like they're coming back now because of Euphoria coming out, the second season of that. So I probably will have to drag this out at some point and do some sort of pastel-y colourful look. But the formula of these is fab. This was really cheap. I'm sure I got this for about £5 off of Beauty Bay, but yeah, Beauty Bay shadows, stunning. Next I've got the Beauty Bay Age of Opulence palette, and that is it here. This is everything I want in a palette, honestly. The formulas are incredible, the colours are incredible, the shimmers are incredible. This just does it for me. You've got your neutrals in there in case you want to do something a little bit more subtle. You've got your pops of colours, you've got your deep dark shades, you've got everything in here. Like, this colour story is a vibe. And then lastly, on the Beauty Bay hype, I've got the Beauty Bay Brights 42 colour palette. And this you have definitely seen on my channel before because I absolutely love it. I swear by it. Shimmers, incredible. The colours are so easily blendable. This layout of the colours going in order just makes it really good for beginners. You can see what colours would blend into each other, like, it's just so good. And honestly, I love a good palette where the shadows are actually laid out for you in colour order, because it just takes the pressure off of thinking, oh, will that blend, what to do next? Like this, fab. Moving on, I've got my Huda beauty palettes. So I've got the little 9 pans. So this is the Emerald Obsessions one. Haven't used this. This is a fairly new buy, and this green just honestly calls to me. It looks incredible. Then I've got the Ruby Obsessions. Again, this is just so stunning. This is like a proper Valentine's Day sort of palette. Maybe that should be a thing. Just absolutely stunning. I'm so excited to try them because I haven't as of yet. And then we have the Amethyst Obsessions as well, which is the purple one, and oh, honestly, they're just a vibe. These are just a vibe, aren't they? They look absolutely incredible, and yeah, I just need to dig around and play. Final Huda Beauty palette is the Desert Dusk palette. I'm pretty sure, again, I've played with this on my channel. So it's sort of like a neutral palette with like pops of colour in there. You've even got this pressed glitter down here, and the shimmers in here, I do sometimes find them a little bit too crumbly. As you can see with this Twilight shade here, it is just very crumbly. But if you use them properly and carefully, yeah, a really good palette. Next up is my Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette, and yes, another neutral but a goodie. An oldie but a goodie. This is just one of those palettes that is just fab for going out, soft glam, that sort of thing. Colours are really nice to blend. The shimmers go with any of the colours in the palette. Just a really easy to use palette. Then moving on to my ABH palettes, I have the Amrezy palette here, which, it just looks lovely. Again, another neutral palette with a bit of a pop of colour. You've got some pressed glitters in here. These two pressed glitters as well. You've got a gold and then the bronze down here. You've got some really deep dark shades so you can build in a little bit of depth, and then just some hints of colour so you can really like play around with your looks if you want to. Then I have the Alyssa Edwards palette because I absolutely love Alyssa Edwards. Like, I saw her have a palette and I was like, yeah, that's mine. and it's just so playful. Like, the colours are fab. I'm pretty sure that I've used this palette before, but I don't know if I have on my YouTube. The yellow I found a little bit tricky to use, but other than that, really, really, really good formula of your shadows, which again I expected from ABH. Then I have my much loved Soft Glam palette. Yeah, you can tell that this has been through the wars. I remember there was a time that I would only ever use this palette if I went out. For a solid probably 1.5 years, 2 years maybe, this was the palette that I would go to because you just couldn't really beat it. There was a time that everybody will remember where this was a thing. This was the vibe. This was the only palette that you used. And I will never get rid of it because it was sort of just one of those palettes that it's a bit timeless. And then last up for the ABH palettes is the ABH Pro Pigment Palette Volume 1, the Norvina. And this is it here. So just sort of like purpley, orangey tones, and yeah, it's always going to be good. It is a pressed pigment palette, so they are a little trickier to use, but if you're steady with them, you're careful, you can make so many gorgeous looks with this because the colours in there are just to die for. So moving on to my Morphe palettes, I've got the 9M Melon Pop palette, which was a Christmas gift, and here it is. It's just this sort of like Christmassy colour scheme really. I've used this, loved it, it was really nice. Kind of wanted a little bit more, but I thought it was really, really good. There's dark shades in there so you can create a bit of depth. There's some nice shimmers. There's not really that many transition colours, but it's a £9 palette. You can only have so much from £9. Next up is the 35B by Lisa Frank palette. And yeah, this is just a bit groovy, isn't it really, like this packaging. And here we have the colour story here. As I say, with the Beauty Bay palette laid out, colour order, we have it again here, and this just makes me very happy. I haven't used this yet, but it is on my to-do list. It is on my... I normally keep the palettes that I want to try out and use in sort of like the box at the side. Like, they don't go in my drawer, they go at the box at the side, so then I actually try and pick up and use them. But yeah, really, really excited to play with this. So many colours. You can do a really, really nice like sort of rainbow look with that. Or if you wanted just something quite soft and pastel-y, but yeah, really excited to use it. But Morphe normally do really, really good collaboration palettes, so I do actually have high hopes for this. Now this is a real oldie, so this is the Morphe 35O Matte palette. So this, again, I bought this for a going out palette when all matte and brown smokes was a thing. Looking at it now, who needs that many? Who needs that many shades of brown in one palette? Me apparently, back in 2017, so yes. This is what we're looking like. I cannot remember the last time that I picked this up. Maybe I do need to just try again and see what I can do with it. Sometimes it's nice to see all the palettes that you haven't seen for a while and just think, but what could I do with that now? Then we have the Morphe and James Charles palette. This is the mini one. Yeah, this is always going to be a goodie really, isn't it? This is always going to be a really, really good palette. Like, the formulas are good. The colours, there's enough of them. You've got like a nice wide variety, neutral look if you want, colourful look if you want. It's going to appeal to a load of people, and the formula is chef's kiss. Honestly, I didn't quite realise how many Morphe palettes that I had. So next up we've got the Jaclyn Hill palette. This is the volume 1, and oh my god, I actually loved this to death when I first got it. Again, this was one of my going out palettes, and yeah, looking back at it now, I'm like, I can see why you liked it, because you've got your neutrals, a pop of colour. It was everything that was a bit of me back in the day. The formulas of these were really, really good too. Yeah, another one of like my early eyeshadow purchases that when I first got into it and started thinking, yeah, I like makeup. And then last but not least for the Morphes, we've got the 35B palette, which is this here. Again, I did not realise how many rainbow palettes that I had. Looking back now, the pigment on these isn't half as good as what I thought it was back in the day. Like, now you have the likes of BPerfect out there, and yeah, it just sort of pales in comparison. But it is definitely one that I will keep, just because, yeah, a little bit of sentimental value, but also it would be nice to try and have a go with them again, just to see how it actually performs now. So we have the Mitchell Feet on the Ground palette. I've did one of my review videos on this, and yeah, really loved it. A little bit sad of how the colour is laid out. I'm pretty sure I said that in the video as well, but I can see why it's been done. I just wish that people would arrange colours, because it just makes my life easier. But you've got some really gorgeous musky muted tones in here, which are just fantastic. Quality is amazing, the shimmers are amazing. Can't really fault it other than the layout and like the design of them, the packaging, it just feels luxe. And obviously Feet on the Ground, Head in the Clouds. So here we have his other palette. Oh, I remember this when I took a big old chunk out of them. That was really distressing. That was on the video. If you want to know how these palettes performed, go and have a look at my review. Just shameless plug in. But yeah, and great quality. Like, I feel like when a makeup artist makes a product, they do it. They do it right. They know what they're after. And yeah, this was it. And then I've actually saved these to last because they'll always kind of be my favourites. So this is the BPerfect Cosmetics Carnival 3 Love Tahiti palette with Stacey Marie. And yeah, I'm never ever going to be able to fault this in any way. It's just... it's what really pushed me to actually want to start my YouTube, to start getting creative, to really try and up my makeup game. Like, this was it. This was it. It's just everything that you could want, and it's just a bit of me. It's just a bit of me. And the quality, I've never had quality like the BPerfect Cosmetics eyeshadows, ever. Especially the Stacey Marie collaborations. You cannot beat them. And then finally, Carnival for The Antidote. This was like, I feel like this was a surprise to everybody in the Carnival family, because we were expecting bright, colourful again, but no, this was The Antidote, and you still got your pops of colour in there. You've got some absolutely standout shades, but then you've got these lovely neutral shades too, which this is my new going out palette, really. I do like my Dolly Mixture palette, the Doll Beauty, but this just has everything. If I'm stuck and I don't know what to do, I pick up this palette, because I know that the blends are incredible. I know that the colours, I've got everything that I need in there. And these shimmers, honestly, if you haven't tried this palette, you need to, because there are shimmers in here that you will have never ever had a formula like it before. It is just incredible. So guys, that is it for my eyeshadow collection. I did not realise how much I had. I'm actually a little bit embarrassed. I'm a little bit embarrassed at how much I have, but not only that, how much I haven't used. Genuinely, I'm going to put all these back now. Everything that I haven't used or that I need to use more often, I'm going to put in my little box at the side of my makeup stand, so I can try and filter in some palettes, because it is actually a little bit sad and it's a little bit disrespectful, the fact that they've been sat in there for so long and they haven't had the use. I need to learn to not just pick up the same BPerfect palette over and over and over again. But thank you so much for watching, guys. As I say, check out my Instagram, my TikTok, subscribe, like if you can, every little helps. Really hope you've enjoyed this video. If there's anything else you want to see, obviously do let me know, because I will provide. Big thank you to everybody out there. Stay safe, stay well, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!